This is Infection, the survival podcast, recorded live on Tuesday, October 2nd, 2018, episode 194. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Infection, the survival podcast. Infection is your source for the latest information on survival video games. We bring you the latest news, reviews, updates, and more each and every week. My name is Nick Craig. You can follow me on Twitter at Nicholas M. Craig. Visit our website, infectionpodcast.com. Joining me from the great state of Idaho, Brian with an I, Aldridge. Hey, Brian. How are you?
Hello, I am doing great. If you want to find me at Boise Computer on Twitter, of course, my blog, biteoftech.com. And make sure you go to our website, infectionpodcast.com. And we've got on there links to all of our different show notes that we have for previous shows. I mean, we're on episode 194. We also have some special shows that we did throughout that time, but those are all on that website with links to videos, patch notes, a lot of the things that we talk about. We reference those throughout the conversation. Also, we have on there a link to our Discord. So if you are looking to hang out with people and chat about games and whatever else throughout the week, also, if you have news that you think we should cover, that's a great place to do it. We have a news channel on there that you can go and post different ideas for show topics. Also, we've got a link to our YouTube channel, our Twitch, which is what we're doing our live show on at the moment. And then our Steam group. If you want to get notifications of the live show, what we're going to go live. I even did it for our Friday night game night as a reminder, but whenever we go live on Tuesdays, I pop up a little notification on Steam. It just tells you, hey, this live show starting. If you happen to be at your computer, you can jump into our Twitch channel and hang out and chat during the live show. So that's all on there. And of course, links to our different podcast forms. If you find that there's a platform that we're not listed on, I encourage you to go and let us know. Let us know what that platform is, and we can see if there's a reason, if it's a place that we can normally apply for, and then we'll try to get listed on that as well. So that's all the self-promotion for now.
I know. Geez, you think we're doing a podcast or something here? We need to tell everybody about everything.
Yep.
Well, yeah, welcome back, everybody. We're here live. I think this is 2 consecutive weeks in a row. I mean, this is a new
on a Tuesday.
This is a new record for a Tuesday, as everything is getting back to normal here in southeastern North Carolina. Let's see. Let's talk about, well, real quick before we get into anything. Let's talk about something that we're doing inside of our community, real quick. If
Yes.
you are interested in fitness in any shape or form, we are doing a challenge that's being inspired by the Joe Rogan podcast. They call it Sober October. You can go and watch the episode that Joe did yesterday, October 1st, if you want all the rules and details and whatnot. We're just kind of doing a general fitness thing. Everybody's trying to keep each other motivated and on track and eating healthy, working out, doing whatever. So if you are interested in that, I know, it's fun to do it with other people, and keep everybody in track and post gains and whatnot. Ping me on Discord and I'll add you to the thing. It's the whole month of October. I'm trying to bulk up, add some muscle. We've got a couple other people that are trying to cut some general weight. Brian's trying to get back in athletic shape after destroying all the ligaments in his arm, or in his shoulder rather. So everybody's got their different thing that they're working for, and I don't know. I mean, if it goes good for the month, maybe we'll keep this up in kind of like a revolving thing. So if you're interested in that, have any interest whatsoever, start whenever. Just ping me on Discord or send me a private message or at me in the main channel, and I will go ahead and add you to our private Discord channel. So
Yes.
there we go. That's that kind of a quick little thing we're doing.
Very good. And I'm going to give a quick report. We did Ring of Elysium.
Yeah.
And we had 4 of us that played, and it went, and Joe and I have been playing throughout the week. Joe will say he's lonely, and he'll say, does anyone want to play with me? And so I'll go play some ROE with them. That's the new hip term, and so, yeah, I've been playing it throughout this week, and it's been fun. I've had minimal issues. We die quite a bit, but that's mainly because we just haven't played it that much. But so far it's a very consistent game, and I've had a lot of fun playing it.
I gotta tell you, my first ROE game, I had a great game. I killed like 6 people. It was fantastic. Was running to the helicopter, got there, got 3/4 of the way up the thing, and somebody shot me and killed me. It was very upsetting.
Nice.
Very upsetting. I almost won my first game, and then I didn't. So.
Yeah, my second game was that one where the guy shot me on the rope because I thought we were all good teammates. And
I just didn't see this guy. He was waiting, and then he ended up getting killed by the storm anyway. So good, he deserved it.
Yeah. But it's a fun game though, as far as it's comparable to PUBG. Yeah. I think there's elements that I like more than PUBG personally.
I think the gun, the attachments for the guns and whatnot, the customization compared to a game like PUBG, it's got a very Arma-ish feel in terms of how everything is very meticulous in terms of attachments, and you have to find magazines as well as ammo. So they can be 2 different things depending on the gun. It's got that feel, but it's not tedious. Most of the stuff auto-fills in the inventory, which is nice. You pick up a...
auto-equip stuff. You pick something up, it auto-equips it to the weapon. I
really like that, yeah. You pick up a bipod, and it goes to your assault rifle or whatever. It's really convenient.
And I think like the snowboard really kind of picks up the pace, because that's something that you'll run in with PUBG is you can get into if you can't find a vehicle, you get into kind of a lull to where you're just running for a couple of minutes. I think with the snowboard, it makes it to where you're more quickly getting to action. I think it's going to be a little more streamer friendly in that way, to where you don't have so much I'm just running through a field.
Yeah, I didn't do any of the snowboarding thing. I do like how quickly though the game kind of plays out. And here's the thing I've noticed about it. You can, I don't want to say camp, even though that's kind of what it is, but I don't find myself mining the slow kind of mid game as the zone closes in around you. I found a couple of different spots that I would sit for a couple of minutes at a time, just kind of checking out the area. If I didn't see anybody, I'd move on and trying to find a new place where I could be kind of sort of comfortable. And then be looking. I had a 4x scope on an assault rifle, and I had it in single shot mode, so I was able to just kind of shoot at people from a distance, and it didn't feel boring the whole time. Maybe it's because it's new and I didn't know the map, but it didn't feel boring. That kind of, or I was essentially just camping. That didn't feel boring at all. It wasn't just let me sit in this corner and wait. It was like because you can hear shots. The sound is incredible in that game. You hear footsteps, so you can hear things going on around you, and it's trying to figure out where they are, what's going on, how far they are. Keeps it interesting. I mean, you can hear people walking. If you're on the top floor or somebody was walking below, you can. It's like back in the old days of Call of Duty, sound whoring. I mean, you can sit in a house and wait for somebody to walk in and blast them when they open the door.
Well, one thing that Joe made a comment about when we were playing is there's you could tell the meatiness of a weapon, because there were certain guns it was like, and you're just, oh man, that's a powerful gun. And you're like, I don't know that I want to go over to that area, because that sounds like a gun that can shoot some distance. And I don't get the sense of that when I play PUBG. I mean, there were some different sounds of guns, but it wasn't like, that gun is ominous. Like I think I'm not going to go over there, because that sounds. You'll have certain guns in real life where you can tell they have some oomph behind them, and I felt that with this game, and I haven't felt that with many other games, to where there was just that sound of a gun that kind of made you nervous to even approach the area.
Yeah, overall, I think it's got a lot of potential. Very, very polished for a new game. I played, I don't know, 5 games, maybe half a dozen, and I didn't run into, I don't remember running into any issues. Trying to think. I don't think I ran into anything that was game breaking, if I ran into anything at all.
Yeah. But for me, it ran. That's the thing that impressed me right away is the game felt snappy. Some people are saying it felt sluggish, but I'm thinking probably more of early PUBG. Maybe they fixed some. I mean, PUBG has gotten better, but in my mind, I still kind of penalize PUBG for being sluggish as far as the movements. This for me doesn't feel sluggish at all.
This game has got a weird. This game is kind of a weird hybrid for me. It's casual, but it's also got those. It's not, but it's not Fortnite. It feels very arcadey. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the style, how there's kind of like little floating beacons above all the different items. If it's that kind of casualness that makes it feel arcadey. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't feel like.
Well, I think also you have a kind of a hybrid of those movement options. People can have the hang gliders, people can be on snowboards, so they have a few different methods and you haven't really taken advantage of that. But I think you'll find, especially with the snowboards, or I've seen people use the hang gliders to just jump off edge of a mountain and quickly get into a place. You don't have that option really in PUBG. There's not I'm going to quickly, and you can do that in Fortnite. You can jump up. They have all these different, you see the streamers use it all the time. We'll have something that'll propel them one direction, a leap pad. They'll have all these different ways of quickly jumping to another area.
Yeah.
That this kind of has a middle ground of that. It's not ridiculous, but it does have a way that more quickly allows someone to get in the action, so you don't have so much of that lull.
What's weird is this doesn't feel like any other game that I've played. I'm not going to say this is the perfect game. I haven't played it enough to make any. I haven't played enough in any stretch of the imagination to say that's the case. But it's got all of the. It's not all. It's got most of the good elements from the games that we like. It's got I think it's got a really fluid movement system. It's got some of these. It's got a good vehicle system. It's got the hang gliders. It's got the snowboard. The weapon and inventory system is off the wall with all the attachments and things for guns. It's crazy. There's plenty of loot in the game. There's a clear objective. It's got all of the good mechanics from a lot of the games that we talk about. I really like it. I think I really like it. I haven't been playing a whole lot of it. I've been really busy with work and whatnot. But I think it was Saturday. I think it was Saturday or Sunday is when I sat down for a couple hours, 2 hours or so, and played those games. And I really enjoyed it. It seems like it's got a lot of those winning elements. It's like if you took the best thing from every BR game that's out there right now and threw it into one. It seems like that's what it had.
Yep. And so I know some people have been penalizing it because it's a Korean company and all this, but I mean, if anyone can deal with the Asian culture that we run into in video games, I would assume it would be them. I think they've done a good job. They're not so PC to where they say, hey, we have to allow everyone to play against everyone. I think since it's based out of there, people in Asia play with people in Asia. People in America play with people in America generally. And we've run into right now, people in Europe can't play because they haven't opened it up for Europe yet. So I think it has to do something with their, those new laws they changed for how people's information is.
The GPDU or whatever it was.
Yeah. And so I think that's the reason is they haven't gone through and met that criteria. And so it's not been open for release there. So I don't know if they really care. They maybe look and say, whatever, it's a free to play game. If they feel like the market is big enough there, I'm sure that at some point they will, but they may not be concerned with it yet.
Yeah. The GDPR is the General Data Protection and Regulation. That's interesting. And for anybody that is trashing the game because it's made by Tencent, we found out, but it's not secret knowledge, but a large portion of Epic Games is owned by Tencent. Tencent's got their hands in a lot of gaming things in general. Yeah. So to say that wouldn't play this because Tencent is behind it, well, then you shouldn't be playing anything that Epic makes, and like almost every other big game company. Tencent's got some interest in almost every single one of those companies.
I mean, they're one of the biggest video game companies in the world. So, I mean, you can, just because you haven't really heard of them, we've talked about how big the Asia market is. Tencent has their hand in a ton of mobile games. Like PUBG. They are a huge player. They PUBG, and so they're one of the biggest gaming companies there is, and they're finally kind of branching out to America. It seems like here more recently. And so this is one of their games that has the new Tencent, the anti-cheat we brought up however many months ago.
10 Protect.
Yep, 10 Protect. This is using that, and I think we'll start to see more and more of that. I still don't think there's a surefire way to stop the cheaters. I've kind of said, I think that the genre has to kind of go away and genres have to be reinvented to combat cheaters, because I think we have a genre that people enjoy playing, but there's not really a way to minimize, other than what Fortnite has done, to minimize the cheating effect. And they can try, but it seems like every single game we see that's like this, there's always cheaters, and no big studio, no matter how much money they have, has been able to stop it.
Well, Tencent owns 100% of Riot Games, so League of Legends. They own an undisclosed amount of Activision Blizzard. They own 12% of Bluehole, 40% of Epic Games, 5% of Paradox Interactive, 5% of Ubisoft, and the list goes on and on and on. So if you've ever played League of Legends, they own 100%. They're the majority owners of Riot Games. So they just, hey, you saying that you're not playing ROE, Ring of Asylum, Elysium, Ring of Asylum, Ring of Elysium, because it's made by Tencent is ridiculous. So, and that's a little agreement puts the Illuminati eyes in the chat. But I mean, you just looked at those companies. Rockstar comes to mind that isn't on this list, but outside of Rockstar, Ubisoft, I don't see EA on here either. Outside of those two companies, it looks like the top 5 or 6 big boys have all got an interest owned by Tencent. Even if it's 5%, it's still.
So can I speculate here a little bit?
Sure.
Okay. So if we think of the past, let's say 6 years, 5 years, we've had the video game industry kind of go through a really rough spot. And I think, thank you for the people that are listening. He put his detective hat on me. I think personally that they found a lot of companies that were really struggling and possibly going under during this time. And so I think that they put a lot of money, because a lot of companies were desperate for funds. I mean, we could look at H1Z1 is a perfect example. They went to a Russian investment firm because they were probably going to go bankrupt. And I think that Tencent took advantage of a really rough economy for many years in the United States to be able to get a large portion of percentages in some of our biggest companies in a time when probably a lot of them were struggling financially. Because I think otherwise, probably most of these companies wouldn't have let that happen. They wouldn't have had a Chinese company come in and become a major portion of them. But I think that that unique scenario in our country, I think, allowed for this to happen. I'm not saying whether it's good or bad. I'm not giving my opinion one way, but I think that that's how that happened, where all of a sudden, in a very short period of time, we find a company that has a huge portion of almost all those industries, all the companies in the industry.
To be clear about that, a company like Ubisoft is publicly traded. So the 5% they own of Ubisoft can be purchased on, I don't know what exchange it's on, but I know it's publicly traded.
The value of it during a time when the sales of video games were down, the value would have dropped. It would have been the perfect time, if they're looking in the long term, to sit and buy up percentages,
Activision
shares, which is probably exactly what they did. I'm saying, I think that this allowed an open door for them, just like you could look at buying houses during that time was an excellent investment.
Yeah.
Probably buying percentages and shares in video game companies was an excellent investment at that time, because as our economy has gotten better, these companies are putting out big titles again. I mean, we've got our economy's going really well right now, and we've got some major games that with just a huge amount of time put into making them and resources.
The amount of money that's going to be spent on video games over the next 60 days with all of these. I mean, Brian, I was making dinner here earlier, and I was just thinking about show stuff, and I was thinking, boy, is this an exciting time to kind of be in our industry. I mean, we have got the creme de la creme of blockbuster titles all releasing over the next pretty much 45 days or so, but we'll say the next 2 months. This is exciting. This is a really exciting time in our industry. And
now, do you think so? Let's take a look back when the alpha thing happened. Do you think that I personally think that was kind of linked to our poor economy. I think that the big studios were kind of cutting back on major titles being released. It opened a door for a lot of these alpha studios to come out with games that weren't up to par with what a AAA studio would do. Like, I mean, look at our Rockstar and the games they're putting out now. I think that kind of opened that door and allowed some of those alpha games to come out. People then realized, a lot of these games are trash and they're never going to really be released, and got tired of it. And now we're back. Now that the economy is a lot better, we're like, give us the good games. All right, we want the AAA studios. Like, give us what you got. And now they're starting to put out on a regular basis just some of these big titles that we've looked at. You know, even games like there's that what's the 2077 that's coming out, Cyberpunk 2077, I think it is.
Yeah, it's Cyberpunk.
It's coming out, and that's a huge world. You know, I think that we would have seen maybe a couple of titles in a year that are really big, but we've got a huge set of giant titles coming out in 1 year's time, at double at least what we would have seen back in the late 2000s. You know, as far as like 2010 to 2008, 2010, 2011.
I don't know if it's as much of that as it is the availability for people to make games. I mean, with Unity and Unreal and whatnot all becoming more mainstream over the past. I mean, here's the thing: you look at games that are coming out now. A lot of these games have been in development for, or at least in some sort of development for 5+ years. We look back at the H1Z1 time. Before that, with DayZ and games that came out right after that. You were talking about games from 2008, 2009 that were being worked on. I mean, I think it's
that's 10. I mean, 10 years ago. So the downturn started 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So we had a number of years of alpha, and probably less titles, I think, being released. And now I think there was a recovery from that. And then I think now we've got where they realized that the video game industry was going to be strong again. They started developing it. Now I think this year we're reaping the benefit of that, of those big titles now being finished with those funds that they were willing to reinvest, which I think is still linked to, like the companies like Tencent investing the money into these companies that now they're putting out the games that, use those funds. I mean, that's kind of that's my guess. I just looking at it, I think there's reasons to all this personally.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
So one thing I did want to talk a little bit about.
Before we do that, let's talk about what this week's game of the week is going to be. You've got just a couple days to go ahead and pick up Overwatch. That is our game of the week. And fortunately for you, if you don't own Overwatch, it's on Humble Bundle monthly. And if you head on over
2 more days,
you got 2 more days to get that. If you head on over to our website, infectionpodcast.com, click on the support tab, or support link, there's a Humble Bundle icon. You can go there and you can get Overwatch, which is a $40 title. It's never been on sale to my knowledge. It's always been $40. You get it for $12. What is it? Is it? Yeah, $12. And you've got...
Plus you get Dungeons 3. They show on there another title.
Hidden Folks, and then a couple of other games as well.
It says 4 other titles beyond that.
Yeah. So...
7 titles for $12. I mean, that's a pretty good price.
Absolutely. And Overwatch is a fantastic game, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. So check that out.
And we play it every however many months as a group, and we always have fun.
Yeah, it's a fun game. So we'll see you Friday night for our game of the week. It's 7 p.m. Eastern. Excuse me, 8 p.m. Eastern. And you can find all the information on our website. It's all in our Discord, infectionpodcast.com. All right. What did you want to talk about? A little something. What are we talking about?
So, I mean, we talked a little bit about the whole Telltale thing.
Yeah.
And, there was the studio closed.
Yep.
People were very frustrated. And I kind of want to talk about probably what caused that to close. I think it is kind of clear, but also there's all of a sudden been this backlash against Telltale of people mad that, this studio didn't give out severance packages and all this. And I wanted to go into a little bit of just kind of guesswork on the future of what this means. Like, where's the video game industry going from here?
Okay.
But as far as Telltale closing, this is something that personally I think was linked to a game that very quickly became popular. And we talked a little bit about this, based on very niche titles. So The Walking Dead, a very niche title. There was a big fan. We kind of reaped the benefit of the whole zombie craze and all that stuff from H1Z1. The H1Z1 was very much a part of DayZ and The Walking Dead, and people being all excited about zombies, wanting to play a game where there were zombies, and that kind of went away. And the thing is, The Walking Dead, the Telltale game, they put out a very good product. Like, it was a very interesting story, but then I think they started relying on these big licensed titles.
Well, Minecraft
and everything else.
They did say what the reasoning was. They said that their games were very well received. They just didn't sell enough copies. I mean, that was their statement.
But the thing is it comes down to getting those niche titles. There's a limited amount of time that people are going to be interested in that one niche thing. If that niche thing doesn't have as much interest, they're going to sit there and lose a lot of the sales that they would have gotten. They can't control the interest in the Walking Dead series. Personally, like, they can try to sell it, but if their people aren't interested in the Walking Dead, they're only going to sell as many people are interested in the Telltale games themselves, which I think they found how many they are. I mean, this studio hired a bunch of people based on that initial interest. The problem is they didn't downsize over time properly to be able to match the current interest. I think they grew too fast, and then they didn't shrink over time or adjust how they do their games to be able to maintain that number of employees. And so I don't know that it's necessarily, I think that they could have done things. And this is a perfect case where, where Tencent could have come in and probably saved this company. I think they didn't find a value in it. Some sort of investor didn't find a value enough to come in and save Telltale, probably looking at the numbers of what they do. But I mean, this is something that they've lost. Telltale's lost a lot of people over time. Some of their CEOs, like in 2007, their CEO and founder left the company, or 2017, sorry. And then they had other people. December of this last year, they warned about layoffs, saying that they were in trouble. But he said they felt they were in good shape. So they knew that it was coming, but obviously they should have done layoffs at that time. It seems like they let the money run out to where they couldn't even go another month. I mean, they were going to be releasing in 1 month's time their biggest titles. 1 month. And they couldn't wait 1 month.
Well, I mean that
shows you.
I mean, I'm not trying to discredit what you're saying, but clearly there's something else to the story here. You don't just run out of money. I mean, that's not a thing that happens. I don't think we have the full story.
How could they just shut down?
But that's my point. That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm saying. There's just, I don't buy this notion that they were just poorly mismanaged and had too many people on staff. You don't just go out of business. You don't just run out of money. You don't one day look and go, oh my God, we are totally out of money. We need to fire everybody. So yeah, it's like
Green Man's pointing it
yeah.
out. That's what I'm saying is their board said you're not getting any more money.
Well, that's I know, but that's a different story. They didn't just wake up one day and be out of money. I mean, I don't know anything about how the studio was run, if they were too big, too small. I mean, we don't have any of that information.
Yep. Well, but I'm saying they didn't have enough. The investor saw that they're not going to make their money back. But is what it would come down to. So whatever investor or company that had money in this looked at that and decided that the amount of sales they're going to get from The Walking Dead, for instance, final season would not be enough to balance out the concept of keeping those people on for one more month. All they would do is keep employees hired for one more month, but that obviously they didn't feel like the sales would match 1 month's worth of expense.
Well, that's why I just think there's something else going on here. That just seems very odd.
I mean, I think that I think that they were just not. The company was not fiscally run.
Well, let's say they had 30 some odd employees.
No, they had hundreds.
They had hundreds of employees.
They are down to 25 employees now.
Okay.
They had 250.
You're right.
And they're down to 25.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a little more sense.
That's what I'm saying is they had too many employees for the amount of money that they were bringing in. But they should have started, the fact that they still had 250 employees.
I'd be a little hesitant. Hold on. I'd be a little hesitant. I mean, I don't want to, I'd be a little hesitant. We don't know. I mean, that's what it sounds like. I just don't want to put ourselves in a situation where like, they're like, well, you have no freaking clue what you're talking about, you know.
Well, I'm looking at the history of events. In November, they did do some layoffs. The CEO who came in, he cut 25% of the workforce.
Uh-huh.
But the thing is, then they said that, hey, in December, we probably will have to do more layoffs. The thing is, they didn't do layoffs at that point. They said that they said that, and there's people that work there that said that the culture had become very bad at the company. They were working 18 hours per day for weeks. But the thing is, they were trying to deliver the same product, but they knew they weren't going to be selling as many copies because there was less interest.
Well, I can tell you exactly why the culture was a problem, because everybody was expecting to get laid off. I mean, that'll cause you to be pretty unproductive throughout the day if you're constantly wondering how the hell you're going to pay next month's rent when you get laid off from your job, which is inevitably going to happen. I mean, I mean that would destroy pretty much any culture, I would think. I mean, we looked at that at Daybreak for a period of time when everything was just downhill. How do you get anything done when inside of your company, everybody that's working around you is getting swallowed up by larger game studios, which is what was happening to Daybreak for a period of time.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting with it, but this is kind of what developers expect in a way. A lot of people that are in the development or the game development world, they jump from company to company.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a game industry where you're guaranteed to have a job with the same company for 10 years.
Well, and some people want to. I mean, people get hired to do Project A. They do Project A, and then, I mean, that's kind of what they expect. All right, now we're going to lay you off. And there's plenty of other game studios that are hiring. I mean, Epic's hiring like a
So, I mean, why should these guys have been so worried then at the possibility of being laid off?
Because nobody wants to be laid off.
That's the industry standard.
Yeah, but I mean,
but that doesn't mean. I think it's that they're pushing their employees too hard because they laid off the 25%. I think that rather than cutting back on what they were expecting to deliver, they then made that remaining 75% continue the exact same amount of work that the studio was doing before.
That's probably the case, but you've already made promises to investors and to other companies. You can't really go out. You can't go back on your word, or what happens with them it potentially could have been what happened. They tried renegotiating or changing the terms of something they were going to provide, and an investor or somebody pulled the money out and said, no. If you can't meet the terms, we're not doing the project.
I mean, and I kind of suspect that's what happened with Daybreak. I mean, all of a sudden we had these layoffs with Daybreak. Most likely an investor said, I'm not funding this because there's no return. And then all of a sudden a bunch of employees are laid off from Daybreak. I think that this is something that people should expect from studios. I mean, look at, for instance, we have Red Dead Redemption 2. It cost them $137.9 billion to make that game.
Billion.
Or so
million.
Oh wait, sorry. I'm taking the wrong numbers. So, okay, that's wrong.
Yeah, clearly.
Strike that. No, so okay, so this year they're expected to. Consumers are expected to spend $137.9 billion.
Okay, that sounds
right. And so on there right now, people are spending a lot of money, and so you have games like Red Dead Redemption 2, right, that are putting incredible amounts of money into video games to make them. Yeah, that was I got my things.
How good of a game, as Jay Delores pointing out, billions,
137.9 billion.
I mean, that better be the best goddamn game that's ever existed at that price. And real quick, I do want to say with the Green Man just posted a link from an article. The whoever was being interviewed here declined to note what company specifically backed out, but several sources say it was in fact AMC, which is The Walking Dead, and Smilegate. So if you had AMC pull back, or pull out of whatever deals they were working on, that would, and if they weren't flush with cash, that would pretty much cause them to have to go out of business immediately.
Yeah. Well, okay, so, and I'm guessing that because GTA 5 took about $265 million to make.
Okay.
I think that they're going even bigger with Red Dead Redemption 2.
They say it's their biggest open world game ever, so you could only assume.
Because it took them 5 years to make GTA 5. So they spent that money, the $265 million, in the 5 years. I'm guessing that you could get up to probably almost $500 million to make Red Dead Redemption 2. I bet you that's probably their budget. Up to that, whatever that is. That's a huge amount of money. So let's say that you have a title, they're kind of guaranteed. I mean, it's hard to say that Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to be a flop, but they're very unlikely to do that. But some of these other titles, like Cyberpunk, there's no guarantee that game is going to be incredibly popular once it's released.
It's got a lot of internet hype, but we've seen that doesn't really mean a damn thing.
But that doesn't always equate to incredible sales.
Absolutely.
And so a company like that, they're going to invest millions of dollars, however many millions of dollars, into making that game. If it doesn't pay off, like, that studio is then going to have to lay a bunch of people off. Like, I think we're getting to an age where it's like movies. I mean, they're putting in the same amount of budgets as blockbuster movies every single time they make a game anymore, that can almost bankrupt any company. It's not an alpha, like a group of guys making a video game. These are huge studios that, if they have a failure of one game, it can bankrupt their whole studio. And so I think that we're getting in a weird range with the industry of how do these companies, like, it's a gamble every time they release a game now to whether or not it's going to bankrupt their company.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't go that extreme, but
so if Red Dead Redemption had half of the sales they were wanting,
it wouldn't bankrupt Rockstar.
It wouldn't bankrupt them, but any other studio would.
Yeah, but no other studio would put $500 million into the game. I mean,
yeah, but I mean, even for CD Projekt or like CD Projekt Red, they don't. I mean, I assume they don't have the bankroll that.
No, but I don't think the game being a quote unquote flop is
flop, and it is a comparison to what they're expecting. I mean, any other studio would see however many millions in sales as a success, but when you're putting in 500 million into a game, your version of success changes drastically.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This isn't a flop for them and a flop for somebody else is two different things.
But my point is that we're getting to a stage where there's so much going into these that these companies are taking on a huge risk releasing games because we expect them to be so gigantic to take 5 years to make. I mean,
I don't know. I don't really agree with that.
If you don't think so?
I mean, no. I mean, Rockstar is one of the only companies that does it. I mean, Call of Duty's got a game coming out every 12 months. I mean, Battlefield.
But how many years did they work on those games?
I mean, they work on it for 2 or 3 years, but I mean, Rockstar and Bethesda are the companies that are known for taking a bagillion years to work on a game. I mean,
But see, we're getting more studios like that, just like Cyberpunk. We got more companies that are coming in and starting to make those giant games because that's what the industry.
Yeah, well,
industry
but I
is
mean
starting
that. But
to
I mean
expect.
that's the risk. I mean you can go. You can put all your eggs in one basket and go for this crazy ass game that is going to be the greatest thing ever. And then if it doesn't sell, you close your company. But I mean talk about diversification and not putting all your eggs in one basket. That doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense.
Yeah, but I mean, don't you think that they're kind of with Red Dead, where they're putting all their eggs in one basket? I mean,
No,
what
not
other
the-
big titles do they have coming out?
But
here
they don't
soon?
need to. Rockstar's got so much
It would
money.
take them a long time to recover from
I don't
it. If
think
they
so
didn't-
at all. I don't
if
think
this
so at
for
all.
some reason was a flop. I'm definitely not saying it's going to be a flop, but if it was, their next title would be so many years out that then they would have to also invest all that money into that before they ever got a return.
I think Rockstar couldn't sell a single. I think Rockstar couldn't sell a single copy of that game, and it wouldn't matter.
And still stay afloat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
the guy that's the
executive
guy that's the executive producer at Rockstar is worth $100 million. Just the executive producer. That's an individual person. Yeah. That's not the company. I mean, Rockstar itself is worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
They're an outlier in the industry, though. There's not many other studios that can take risks like Rockstar does.
I agree completely, but I don't buy this train of companies are companies are putting all of their net worth is about $3.5 billion. So yeah, they could not make a penny on this game and it wouldn't matter.
They could, but
I don't think that's the fear from these companies. I really don't. I mean, why the hell would they put themselves in that situation? Spend years developing a game, and then if it comes out, you have to close your company. I mean, that just doesn't seem smart.
That's practically what Daybreak has done.
That's not what Daybreak has done. I'm not at all. Daybreak had
to sell off their whole share of their companies to a whole other company. But
that's because they were mismanaged. They didn't have some grand elaborate plan. They released a shitty game in 2012 and then kept it shitty for 4 years.
Yeah, and they kept paying all this development staff to make something that went nowhere.
But that's different than a game that is being worked on for 10 years behind the scenes like Cyberpunk and then releases and doesn't sell. They released a subpar product and then kept it a subpar product and then now have had a series of unfortunate events. Everybody leaves the company and they're trying to do they're trying to scrap something together after the fact. I don't think if you're going to compare somebody like Cyberpunk, who's literally been working on the game secretly not secretly, but behind the scenes for almost 10 years.
The only information we know is what's been handed to us. It's like they're like Rockstar. You don't generally find many leaks.
I don't think Daybreak by far is the worst run company that we've talked that we cover and talk about. It is blatantly obvious.
Worse than Telltale?
I mean, yeah, because we don't know anything about Telltale. I mean, it's not. None of it's been public. All their games they've released have been very good and seem to be pretty popular. They must have had too much overhead. That's my best guess. I don't know though. I don't know why.
Yeah, Telltale had good games, but the thing is obviously
too much overhead. I guess. I mean, that could
overhead. And the investors said, "All right, you're never going to make this money back for us," which. I mean, I think it's the same thing that kind of happened finally with Daybreak. They finally said, all right, we're tired of supplying you money because obviously they're not going to, I mean, look at the player numbers. You look at the player numbers all the time. There's no way that company's going to make the money that the developer or those investors came in expecting.
Yeah.
The investors came in at a time when they were kind of at their peak and then the whole game tanked.
Yeah. I would not put those things in the same category.
But I still think though we have a lot of companies that are coming in and they're putting a lot of risk.
Who?
That
I'm trying to think of a game. Like CD Projekt Red's not. I mean, they've got four successful Witcher games that they've made. I mean, they're not like
Overkill's The Walking Dead, like they're putting a ton of money into that.
Okay.
It could they put very little information. So it's hard for us to judge. But looking at the amount of work they're putting in there, I personally would say for coming out November 6th, there's probably a minimal amount of hype for that game. I think that they would
terrible timing.
I think they would have wanted a lot more hype. I don't think that they're going to make the money that they expected And if they're not cutting back now, I think they're kind of past that point of being able to cut back. I mean, it's being released in just over a month. That's the example of a studio that could lose so much money, but they've been investing. They're releasing all at once, so all that money's already invested. I don't think they're going to, make it back. I don't think they're going to make back that money. That's just one example. I mean, Days Gone is a pretty big studio, and that's consoles tend to.
It looks like this Walking Dead game has got interest from Skybound, which is a pretty big studio, as well as 505 Games, which is another pretty decent sized studio.
But I mean, you've got games like that though. They're putting a ton of money into it, and they're kind of at the will of the market at that point. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
They probably started making that when The Walking Dead was hot.
But that's anything ever. You're at the will of the market. Yeah. I mean, and that's TV shows. That's video game.
That's my whole point, though, is that these developers should not be shocked when they get laid off. I mean, it's how the industry works.
Yeah.
I mean, Telltale. I see so many people pissed off at Telltale. Okay, they did do it.
So I haven't been following this. Who's pissed off? The people that work there, or consumers in general?
The people that work there are suing Telltale
over what?
Because
unfair termination. I mean, didn't the company go bankrupt?
Not necessarily unfair, but they're mad that they're not getting a severance package. Their insurance cuts out tomorrow, I guess. They're just
shit happens. I mean,
that's the industry. That's what I'm saying that's the industry. Like, you should be expected to be laid off at any minute. If your titles are going to, you should be able to go and look at your reviews and have a general idea of whether or not you're going to have a job in 6 months.
Yeah. Well, so Green Man's correct.
Or look at your sales.
Green Man is correct in saying they didn't go bankrupt. Yeah, but here's the thing, though. You don't know those numbers. I mean, this is all dependent on what the company is giving to their.
If their investors pulled out, that's equivalent of going bankrupt. I mean, if you don't have money.
No, well, I got that, but being legally bankrupt is different than not being bankrupt. Legally bankrupt pretty much means like
you've already gone into arrears and just owing money.
Well,
I mean that's when you're bankrupt. Like,
yeah, when you're
at a point.
Yeah, you're not solvent when you're legally bankrupt.
And Netflix. So Jay Delory, he brought up, or let's see, Green Man brought up about Netflix. There is one title that I think they're legally obligated to fulfill
they are,
for
with
Netflix.
The Minecraft series, yeah.
And so that's the only one that they're finishing. They did put out a tweet saying we're going to be talking to other, I guess, investors or studios to finish the story for the Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And then people were pissed off about that, saying, you should have the original people come and do that. Well, they can't. They don't have the money to do it. Like, unless they went and found an investor, but you think that that's going to be a happy work environment if all of a sudden they hire on and everybody back again for another 2 months to finish a game?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's just not going to happen. Like, people, I think, are being unrealistic of the situation. They need to accept reality says that the company's done. They do. Who do they owe more of an? They promised their consumers a product that either they're not going to deliver that product, or they're going to have just been kind of jerks to their employees, letting them off in a way that wasn't pleasant. Which one is more important?
I don't know, because it depends on what side of the aisle you're on.
Yeah, I mean, so they're all saying, okay, we don't want you to go to these other companies. Well, they promised. There's people that bought season passes. People have already paid for those final episodes.
Well, if you already paid for those final episodes, now that's an actual lawsuit.
Yeah, I mean, they got the season pass, and now there's only 2 episodes coming out of it, rather than 4, which they promised.
Well, unfortunately, promise is not a legal term, so I mean, you kind of put yourself at risk.
I don't know. It's just kind of weird. I just think the industry is in a weird spot to where a lot of companies, the games are fickle. Like, whether or not people are going to buy them, whether or not people like the concept, whether look at Ring of Elysium. It's a fun game, but there's a bunch of people who won't play it just because it's put out by a Korean company.
I mean, I think I'm gonna shoot a shot across the bow of everybody with this, but it's probably because the people running these companies don't have a freaking clue what they're doing. I mean, that's probably part of it. I mean, I can't see how you can be as successful as Telltale with the name recognition and the success of all of those games, and then one day you just have to close your doors out of the blue because you run out of money. I mean,
Okay, what about even like Maverick?
They're a super small company.
Yeah, but they're putting out a lot of money. I mean, they're putting out
How
probably
much? How many people they have working for them?
they've grown their studio in expectation.
Well, of course you have to do. Of course you have to grow it in expectation. What are you supposed to do? Do exactly what
What I'm
7 Days
saying
to
is
Die
it-
does? Try to develop a
right down
game with
their
one
site.
person? I mean, look at we've seen what happens when you don't grow your studio size. You have one jackass building your game, and it takes 16 months to get an update. I mean,
Yeah.
or you're hide and hold out, and you realize, oh, it actually takes a lot of work to build a game. So now I have to stop development of my game because I have to feed my family. I mean, there's always going to be risk. I mean, that's business. It's
But
capitalism.
that's the
You got
thing
to take
is
the
that
risk.
company right now, when that game is released, if people look at it and say, "Oh, this isn't what I was expecting," because right now there's a lot of hype, that company's probably going to have to fold.
Yeah, and then
It's going to be done.
and then you'll have to move on. I mean, this happens in
So
every
they
other.
should those the employees like? Should we listen to them? They're mad.
I mean, I don't care. If
we
they're
can see
mad.
it
I feel
from the
bad.
outside.
I feel bad for all of them. But I mean, you worked for a company that didn't know what the hell they were doing. I mean, that's their problem, not yours.
No.
I mean, I can understand. I mean, if the company I work for shut down tomorrow, I'd be pissed. I'd be real pissed.
Yeah.
But I mean, what are you gonna do? Bitch on Twitter? I mean,
That's what they're doing.
well, that's great. I mean, I feel bad for them, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Get over it.
But we're in an age where people demand, like they expect, like, oh, you saw it there. Like they expect that they should have a job. You know, it's their right to have a job. If you ask them in California, they think that they should have the right to be employed.
Well,
that's
another
That's
story.
the whole thing with Telltale.
Yeah, but that's another argument.
What
For
that comes down to. I know, but that's pretty much what they're saying with the Telltale incident.
Well, they want a severance.
They shouldn't have the
package,
right.
which is not. They're not required to get. If
It's not required. No.
the company can give you a severance, they would. Clearly, they can't, or they don't want to.
Which means that they don't have them. Yeah, I mean, that comes down to when you're run by investors and not by people that truly are passionate about the industry. I mean, you risk that because an investor's like, okay, well, if I give everybody a severance package, sure it'll make us look bad, but that's going to be all of our money that we would have made probably gone, like our profit for the year.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's just the industry. Anyways, so did you have a preference on what we went to next?
I do not.
All right. So one thing I want to talk.
Actually, let's show a video. I think we were both looking on the same thing.
Yes, we were. This is the one I'm stoked about.
So this is obviously this is a video show on YouTube, but there is also a podcast form. So for you podcast listeners, there is a couple of videos we're going to be showing today. We got some new trailers, some new gameplay from a couple games, and the first one here is, I believe this is the second video now from Red Dead Redemption 2, and this is the second gameplay trailer, right?
Yeah, so this is actually showing less cutscenes, more gameplay. So, and I really like this one because it kind of I was able to see, okay, this is what the game is actually going to look like. You could see that it was an actual gameplay footage, where some of the other ones have been mostly movies and cutscenes, and it's hard to really judge what the game's going to look like.
Yeah.
So I think they did a good job with this one of showing a much more gameplay than even the previous gameplay one.
Absolutely. So here it is. This is Red Dead Redemption 2 gameplay video part 2. It's narrated, so you'll have a little bit of that.
Bastards! I didn't do nothing! Ah! Damn fool!
With Red Dead Redemption 2, Rockstar Games has set out to create its most ambitious open-world experience to date. It is an epic tale of outlaw life that seamlessly blends story with action.
Arthur! Let's go, quick!
And exploration with choice, all under the constant threat of danger. The world is full of adventures and experiences that you discover naturally.
Hey, hold it right there!
as you move fluidly from one moment to another.
Gentlemen, you all know what to do.
Arthur can undertake a wide array of nefarious activities with his fellow gang members. Some are large-scale heists,
Come on.
while others are more personal.
Let's go!
Come on.
You can rob a train, passerby, or a coach.
Anyone inside there?
Hold up a store, burgle a house, or go loan sharking.
Here for money. Where is it?
Or you can simply go off and explore alone, if you're feeling brave enough. The countryside, towns, and frontier are full of rival gangs and outlaws. Each different, but all of them deadly.
How's that score you stole off us?
Which one?
In this rapidly civilizing world, lawmen are cunning. Whether tracking known outlaws or investigating a crime scene.
Mother have mercy.
Now, I'm not a fellow to pass a quick judgment, but I know you don't hire a saint to catch a sinner.
Get a price on your head and bounty hunters will track you down. Arthur must always be prepared to defend himself against whatever is thrown at him. The Deadeye system has been expanded and will progress in stages, allowing you to slow time, paint targets, and see critical or fatal points of your enemies. How and when you use it is up to you. Your experience is defined by the choices and decisions you make for Arthur.
Thank you, sir.
You can, of course, choose what to wear, ride, eat, and which guns to carry. Shave, bathe, or don't. It's up to you. Red Dead Redemption 2 is full of things to do.
He's a fighter.
There are countless secrets to uncover and people to meet.
Enough!
You can get into raucous altercations, take in a show, chase down bounties, fight a duel, and a lot more.
Be careful out there. This is nasty country.
Your behavior has consequences, and people will remember you and your actions.
Son of a bitch.
You can also experience the game in first person. Or take in the world with new cinematic cameras for some stunning views. The result is a world that is deep, teeming with life, and very menacing.
This world has its consolation.
All right, that is Red Dead Redemption 2, and I mean, this looks great.
Yeah.
Looks
When they did show the
really
heists
good.
in there,
Yeah.
which I think will feel probably a little bit like Payday heists. You know, I mean, you've got heists in GTA as well, but I think they're probably will feel very much like the Payday heists as far as they're going to extend it out over a period of time. You go in, you have to do certain things of, you know, maybe somebody standing guard, one person's clearing the safe. I think that it's going to be interesting, and they've got a lot of those details. They went to where even down to washing your character. They also have it to where you can actually hire one of the ladies in the establishment to wash you as well. I don't know. I guess because what you'd have to do is actually when you wash your character, you have to choose like what parts of you you're going to wash. I don't know what it has to do with gameplay, or you can have one of the ladies wash you. But there must be some sort of a buff or bonus or something that happens, or else why would you bother? Or I guess the buff would be, you know, will people treat you differently when you're out in the world if you're dirty? Is what it sounds like they're going for.
Yeah, I mean, I am super excited for this game. I'm excited.
Yeah.
When does this come out? End of the month? 2020. What did it say? The 20.
So it'll come out on
26th.
October 26th. So in 24 days.
Yeah, so it'll be at the end of the month. Yeah, I'm excited. You're getting this on PS4?
Yes.
Okay, I'll be doing the same. So
Yeah, I found myself sitting down and actually playing games on PS4 because
it's not on the PC by default. So I guess.
But you rather than Xbox? Do you have an Xbox One?
I do, but if you're gonna play it on the
What would be your only
PlayStation,
other alternative?
yeah, if you're gonna play it on the PlayStation, I guess I should do the same. Eric,
One of the
our friend ET in chat's asking about Mario Party. Unfortunately, I don't have a Nintendo Switch, and I believe the Mario Party falls a little bit out of our genre of survival games. But I'm going to be very tempted. If I get a good Black Friday deal, I'm absolutely buying a Nintendo Switch. Boy, I'm going to tell you, my bank account's going to be hurting after this month and into Black Friday.
One game that I bought this past week, actually, Laura was like, "Hey, we should get a game," and I got God of War.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That game is amazing.
Very,
as far as
very popular
story.
Sony exclusive, yeah.
Because I went, I was like, oh, what game should I look at? And it's just, if you look at the amount of detail and just that is a continuous story from beginning to end, and it's very long. Like the amount of work that went into make that game, it's pretty incredible. I've really enjoyed the story so far. I mean, it's one of those though that you play through it and you're done. I think that Red Dead Redemption will have a little bit more of a, with the online especially, like if you play through the story or you're not interested in the story, you can kind of piecemeal it like you do with GTA Online. You still are doing quests, you're still doing objectives, different things, but you're not having to go through one big long story.
Yeah.
Eric is pointing out they also have Horizon Zero's on sale. Horizon Zero Dawn, which is another very good game. I played that earlier in the year. PS4, man, they just have a lot of really good titles. Compared to ones I hear about with Xbox generally, it's
just tough because we've been talking about this now for the past couple weeks. There are so many games coming out.
Yeah,
I mean, it's where do you put it all?
Well, and this is where I get kind of nervous for Fallout. Is November 14th. We're nervous about it. All of their different people that are huge Fallout fans are nervous about it. I think I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. That game is going to have to, I think, be really good. It will have to be really good for anyone to buy it.
I don't think so. I think I'll buy it anyway.
Well, I mean, but will you play it?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't,
because the Red Dead's coming out right before that, and then your Battlefield's coming out just within a week of Fallout coming.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I'm waiting on Battlefield's going to be the game I wait on. Because I need a new I need a new GPU anyway. So.
And then we got Call of Duty coming out in 10 days.
Oh yeah, you're getting Call of Duty?
I probably will.
My man. Are we doing our what night is it? Does it come out on a Tuesday? No, it'll be
it comes out on the 12th, so 10 days.
It'll be a Friday. So we're gonna do our Thursday night pre-launch into the wee hours of Friday morning,
and then sit there and try to load it for an hour or two.
Let's do it. That was fun last year. Let's get Lance on it. I'll text him. He'll be all in.
See if we can get Lance to spend $1,000.
Oh, dude, this is the problem. This is right in our October. This is gonna be real bad for our regimen. Staying up all night eating garbage food.
So we're talking about getting all healthy, and then we're gonna sit there and binge on. So the thing is okay. So here's a tip. So my dad became a concert pianist because my dad became a concert pianist because his mom said, for every hour that you play baseball, you have to practice an hour on the piano, and he loved baseball. And so he went and tried out for a major league team and everything. And he was a concert level pianist so if you're going to play, how about we say for every hour that you play on Call of Duty, you have to do half an hour of working out that week.
I mean, I think that's already going to be a given anyway. Nevertheless, we're doing our,
give yourself some motivation.
All right. Well, you're blocking off your next Thursday and Friday night. And we're downloading Call of Duty. We're going to preload it, and we're going to wait till 3 a.m. Pacific or 3 a.m.
Yeah, are
Eastern.
they launching at the same?
No, it launches at the same. It'll launch at 3 a.m.
3 a.m. Yeah, your time. Okay, good.
Yeah, streaming it. Eric's, yeah, we'll stream it. Don't worry. It'll be a fun time. I'm not busy at work at all. I can just.
It's a Friday night. What are you going to worry about?
Yeah, it's 3 a.m. Eastern. I think it comes out at noon.
So it comes out on Friday, so that'll be Friday morning?
Friday morning at 3 a.m. Eastern, I think. Yeah.
All right.
We'll see.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a good
Hopefully
time.
this game better be good.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Again, it doesn't matter.
So PH is saying, what's the normal time? So
it's a
did
midnight.
they
The game's
base
launch
it
at
off of
midnight.
like West?
Yes. Yeah.
Midnight West Coast time is generally what they do.
Midnight
So
West
the thing
Coast,
is, when they say a date, so PH, just to explain this a little bit, when they say a date, then now they want to do it at the earliest possible moment of that date. So when they say that it releases on the 12th, rather than
we're getting this on the
noon,
PC. Yeah, we need to get this.
Are
on
we
the
doing
PC.
the PC?
Yeah. We need to do this on the
okay,
PC.
that'll make it easier for me for the streaming.
Yeah.
So when they say, "Hey, it released on the 12th," rather than people waiting till noon that day, because then they'll all be pissed, they release it the second that it hits the 12th.
Yeah, so you can be pissed at 5 o'clock in the morning when you can't get into a lobby and not noon.
I almost would rather have it be like at 8 a.m. it releases, and then you're pissed.
Sir.
Yeah.
No, sir.
But they did the exact same thing they did with WoW expansions. Like it unlocked at midnight at that time.
And guess what?
Which is aggravating.
And what were you doing at midnight?
On the I was loaded in
playing WoW. Nick, buy a better GPU first. Nah, I'm sure I can get through COD with just lower settings. I'll be fine.
Yeah.
And if not, I guess I'll be buying a GPU. So, all right. We are not getting anything done today.
We're just gabbing.
Yeah, that's fine. COD 4 runs horrible on older GPUs. Yeah, my GPU is not that old. I mean, I have a 960. It's not like I'm not running like a AMD Radeon Crystal Color 3100 or anything like that.
Well, if it runs horribly, he'll be running to Walmart and getting whatever the best video card they have.
Ordering it on Amazon, or buying it.
Oh, you're gonna wait that many days?
Or buy it on the PlayStation.
Yeah, I'd be like, I can picture you. Screw it, I'm going to the PlayStation.
No, because I want to play Blackout. I'll be playing Blackout on the PC. So that's our plan. We're gonna have a Blackout squad on PC. So that'll be good.
You want
to go ahead and
talk about?
You want to do a game giveaway?
I can announce that, but we can start on that, and then I'll get that giveaway ready.
Okay. So let's talk about everybody's favorite game. It's my favorite game. It's Firebomb's favorite game. It's Fortnite, and season 6 started Friday, I believe, last Friday.
Yes.
And they've got a new trailer out, season 6. And they've got their new battle pass and whatnot. So let's first look at their trailer, and then we will look at the battle pass video. Real short, 60-second videos. All right, so the lake, the house on the lake now floats. So that's
it actually moves around the map,
which is super freaking cool. We've never seen that before.
And there's some weird effect where if you do damage to the base of it or something, like it will actually throw you. You can use it to throw yourself around the map.
I did not know that. And then here's a real quick little 30-second video about their season 6 battle pass, which has got a cool new feature. All right, so Epic Games probably just made a couple $100 million over the past couple of days with the new Battle Pass. Obviously, they don't make money on the seasons, but
they've mastered the skins.
I mean
they've mastered it.
They are so freaking smart. Say whatever you want, bash whatever. They've got it down. They've got it down to a science.
Yep.
Now they've got pets.
They've taken backpacks and they were like, well, what can we do to make backpacks more exciting? Now they got pets that sit in the back of your backpack.
Cute little animals. It's genius. Why are we so stupid? Why are we doing this stupid podcast? We could be selling skins and making $200 million in 6 months.
And it looks like they've got these skins now that transition, right?
The werewolf and one.
So you're one skin, then you transition to a werewolf. That one female transitioned into, where she's wearing that outfit. So that seems to be a new thing that they're also doing with this, is having your character actually have the ability to morph. And I don't know, maybe they're doing a special skill. I don't know what
it's the tier
yet. Okay, so as they
I think it's the
raise
tier,
up.
Yeah.
Okay, then you transition into it, which is an excellent way of showing how high up you are, right?
Yeah.
It gets people all excited. So I did see some videos of people using that floating thing. So they jump in, and one guy was actually able to throw himself across the whole map doing it. So I guess if you used it right and you wanted to go the very far side of the map, you could do that, and it takes you right to the edge of the map. So very interesting. So they're coming up with they're reinventing the game constantly.
Every time
they're making it way different, so it feels fresh. So we're not getting that, the game feels, this map is getting boring. I haven't heard anybody complain about the map on this game, but people play the same map over and over again. Yeah, it's one map, but you don't hear where all these other ones are reinventing the map, and then you got half the community pissed because you don't have the old map anymore, and then you got half the community pissed, because you have this new map, that it just, you can't win with these companies, but these guys have figured out, okay, how do you win?
And people in the chat saying Nick loves DLC. I hate DLC. I don't like DLC at all. None of this is DLC.
I think season pass. I've been playing Rocket League a lot with Laura, and we both got the season passes, and I think it's an excellent deal. But much better than.
But can I tell you why I love this? Not because it's DLC, not because there's dogs in the game or whatever stupid animals. I could care less what's in the game. I love it because they have taken a concept which is technically a microtransaction, which is what the season pass is, and turned it into something that nobody has a problem buying. Nobody that plays the game has a problem buying the season pass. We have for literally 2.5 years bitched and complained about how DLC is always such a hard thing, always such a hard sell. DLC is always such a hard sell. And Epic Games has done, I don't know what they've done, but they have successfully been able to sell literally nothing to people. There's literally skins, dragons,
fabricated things,
people dancing. I mean, just the craziest shit you have ever thought. They are able to sell that.
Doesn't actually affect gameplay.
Doesn't affect it whatsoever. They have been able to sell that to consumers and make hundreds of millions of dollars. That's what I love about it.
Yep.
I don't care what it is. I love the fact that they have turned what was previously before such a pain in the ass for these companies to sell, and Epic Games has said, hold my beer. Watch me make. Yep. I mean, they made $90 million. Or excuse me, they made $120 million in 90 days on iOS. One single platform.
And the thing is I think that they saw the writing on the wall with people starting to get upset about all these microtransactions. Because, people, Firebomb, for example, when this kid racked up a ton of money on skins, that only lasts so long before that starts to affect your reputation as a company. It starts to put a very negative light. I mean, we've seen it with other video games, very negative light on the company because they're relying so much on these microtransactions and trying to get a massive amount of money out of certain players, right?
Yeah.
And having that pay for the whole company. I think that they've done a good job of realizing, well, let's not try to get $1,000 out of one person. Let's get $10 out of, a much bigger number of people. And I think that in doing that, they're making much more money. But I think, as you said, the consumer is much happier in the end.
Well, somebody's doing something right, because there are currently 246,000 people watching Fortnite on Twitch. The number one streamer being Ninja, with just shy of 75,000 concurrent viewers. So somebody is doing something right. And I just love the fact that Epic has been able to, well, Eric's even saying he spends $10 for his son, which is the price of the season pass,
which is reasonable.
And there's not a single other fee until the next season comes out, and there's a couple months in between seasons.
But before the season pass, how much money would have his son probably been asking him for?
Every day or every couple days, it would have been. Can I get $10?
Count $10.
Can I get this? Can I get this $2 skin? So Nisco's asking, what do you get from the $10? So for people that don't know, the season pass. So in Fortnite, or just in Fortnite, in
Rocket League,
in general, there's a level system. You level up, you gain experience. Now you can regularly play the game without spending $10, and you get a number of skins and emotes and unlocks for leveling up. If you spend $10 on their quote unquote season pass, you just get better rewards for leveling.
Like every
up.
Level, you'll get a reward.
Yeah,
rather than every 5 levels.
And
you'll get
different.
you'll get skins and just a lot of the one thing that Rocket League does differently is they'll have the same car kind of put throughout the system, but then they improve on that car through it. So you have one, maybe you got at level 1, and then the level 10, there's an improved version of that car. Then if you get to level 70, like you've got the ultimate version of that car. So rather than having 100 unique skins, a few of them, like one of the end zone splashes, things that does the effect at the end when you score. They'll have that same one for that season, but it just gets fancier to where you can get one that just has a lot of crazy effects in it.
Ducky RB in the chat is saying, I have spent $15 for my son. I was getting him a $50 game every month before.
There you go. It's so for kids and parents, this ends up to where they're spending less money per family, as I said, but the company, more people are doing this.
Well, how about this too, Brian? Here's the fact that everybody wants that we're looking over. The game's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
that's why there's millions of people playing it, because the game's pretty
that
good.
Push. But people like also that motivation. It keeps people playing it to where it keeps a large player base, because they want to level up. But before the end of the season, they want to get to level 70. So, and there's that reward of, you're getting a reward every little bit. Like that keeps people coming back, and it keeps them excited about playing.
It's a good game. It's incredibly well done. Epic has put so much time and effort into the game. The price of the game is reasonable. It's free. They charge $10 every, call it 3 months. They just do it. There's what else? What is there to complain about? Yeah. It's a free game.
If you don't like it, like that's the thing is, I think that even if you don't like Fortnite, I think the effect that they're having on the industry of getting these companies that were doing really trashy gambling style of pushing crates before, I think that this has become the expectation to where now a lot of these companies are realizing, if we do this, we'll still make money, but we're not destroying our customers by making it so that their kids are spending all this money. Or my wife, like I told you about, when she was so frustrated when she got some crates in Rocket League, and how she was like, this is trash. Like I didn't get anything. I was like, because I just wanted her to experience it. She's like, what are crates about? I said, watch this. Here, buy 10 keys. She bought 10 keys, opened them all, and she's like, I got nothing. And that was probably $10. But if you do the season pass, you're guaranteed to get something you like if you play. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
And it's not a $10 and then there's that down and like, oh, I'm disappointed. I don't want to play this anymore. They figured out how to keep people interested and motivated the whole time and not expect like Daybreak did, you to pitch out hundreds and hundreds of dollars in crates to try to get some sort of a winning item that you can then sell.
There's nothing to complain about. The game is free. It's a good game. They put a lot of work into it. It's updated frequently, and they're making and I like success. I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe that's the more conservative ideology in me. Without getting political, I like success. I like when companies are successful, and the amount of success.
I like seeing success when it also benefits the customer. I think here is a prime example of the customer is not getting screwed. The customer,
that's a very good
customer is
point.
doing nothing but benefiting from their success.
Yeah.
Now Nisco, he brought up a point. He says, I want the game to have special kids servers so they can play against people on their game level. It doesn't have to be a kids server. What they need to just to have is based on your ranking, you play against people in your similar rank. I mean, that would be one. If they truly wanted to get competitive, that would be the way to do it. Not have it be totally random. And they've got enough players to do that. Just have a ranking system to where if you're in tier whatever, you're going to play against other people. Imagine how competitive it'll get at that point.
Yeah.
So
I love it. I love every second of it.
Ducky RB, he points out, he says some kids are better than adults. One thing you need to realize is at the age of 15, your Twitch responses, they call them the Twitch responses of being able to do really quick actions is higher. And then as you get older, you lose that response time. And so some of these kids at the age of 15, 14, 13 even, that's why a lot of those are these pro players. You see these very young pro players because they're at that prime age to where they have those Twitch responses that as you get older, I mean, look at Shroud. Shroud doesn't play competitively anymore because I think he realized there's a limited time window that he can play competitive and be able, he's having to use learned skill to try to combat, just growing older. It's the same thing with when I play hockey. As you get older, it gets harder. You know what I'm saying? And so, you can't say just because they're kids. There are some kids that are trash. But there's probably some kids that
I'm trash. I'm
you when
21 years
game.
old. I'm awful at the game.
Yeah, some of these 13-year-olds are probably really good I promise you, in comparison to us. So, but I think I think that a rank system, but you'll then run into people that are manipulating the rank system of purposely de-leveling and doing all these stupid things. I don't know. I think that they're kind of probably trying to figure out a way to do that correctly, because that's one thing they've done. Everything that they've done so far in Fortnite with the Battle Royale version of it, they've done correctly. And it looks like they've really thought it out and attacked it with, here's what we think is industry best. I think with the ranking system, they do realize that it can be manipulated. So they're going to have to come up with a way to make it work to where it's not going to be manipulated. Yeah. And I think they're still probably trying to figure that out.
It sucks.
Yep.
But some people. I'm sorry. I'm looking. Some people sit on here and kind of crap on the game, and that sucks. It sucks that people do that because it's just. I mean, it's not hurting you. I mean, it's just nothing.
For me, I've made this argument before. This has done nothing but improve the industry. It has improved.
For sure.
First of all,
it set a new standard.
Engine. Well, but also even just the Unreal Engine itself, it has improved it quite a bit of them realizing, well, we need to put these things into the engine because of Fortnite. But we've seen a lot of other companies that said, oh, we upgraded to 4.20 so that we could take advantage of all these improvements. Well, those improvements happen because they made a game that's highly successful and it needs to have these things in the engine to be able to handle this massive of a game.
Yep.
And all these other studios that use that for no extra charge have received those improvements.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyways, that's I still don't understand when people say, I mean, you can decide not to play it, but everything I see has a positive effect.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt about it.
So I've talked about it a little bit. Do you mind if we jump to? Actually, I need to announce the game giveaway. I've had it sitting open here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just about to put
Remember
that up.
we talked about it, but I was like, I didn't actually hit submit here. So, all right. So this will be exclamation point giveaway. This will be a 60-point raffle, and this is not gambling because it doesn't cost you anything other than a little bit of time to enter.
But you're being
And
become
I'm giving away
addicted. Ooh,
Yeah.
addicted to
the
Infection
podcast.
Podcast. Oh.
So I'm giving away a copy of Shadow Tactics Blades of the Shogun. This is currently a $40 title on Steam. It has very positive recent, overwhelmingly positive all reviews. So that is a good indicator that this is a very fun game. It's a stealth tactical ninja strategy single player game. So $40 title. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't enter. If you I guess don't enter if you're not going to play it, right? Because there will be people who will play this because it is a good game.
Yes, there you go.
So I was going to say, well, why not enter? But if you're not going to play it and just add to your Steam layer, don't. But I think this is for a $40 title. Someone will enjoy it.
There you go.
All right. Do you mind if we talk just a little bit about Rocket League? Since I did mention it a couple times. They did put out their 1.53 season 9 update. And in there, they added kind of a new system because they started their competitive season. They redid all their menus to kind of do competitive and make it easier to join games. And then also they went through and put in like a number of reward tiers. They have their new season pass system, which has been going very well. And they put in a lot more progression. So they actually have an XP system. You can level up your character or your vehicle. I don't know what it is. And I think they've just made it much smoother. And if you have the season pass, it's much less of a gambling feeling when you're getting skins now. Before you could go and get skins and you'd have to buy a key every time and they seem expensive and mostly you get something for some car you don't even have. I think that they've done a really good job of implementing something similar to Fortnite where these skins, they're just, you feel like, oh, I'm excited. Laura, she goes crazy. I mean, she's not really played that many video games compared to me, but every time she's like, oh, I got a skin. Oh, I got a skin. That's great. And I'm assuming that that's like for me, I'm not nearly as much of a skin person as other people, but for her, I can see how happy she gets when she gets a new skin and she gets put on her vehicle and try it out and do all these things. So I think they've done a really good job. So if you haven't played Rocket League, I'd say in the past month and a half, I would encourage you to get in there and give it a try because they've done a lot of improvements. They're going to be doing cross-platform play here, I think by the end of the month is what they were talking about. So if you're on a PS4, you can already play against people with PC, but you'll be able to create a group. Because this is something that when we do this for Game of the Week, we've kind of struggled with is how would have to do a private match every time to play with someone on PS4 if we were on PC. So now they'll have it to where we can actually create a group between PC, PS4, and then we will be able to actually do public games doing that. So I think we'll do that for one of the Game of the Weeks once that releases, and then we'll be able to actually go in and make a real group and play competitively when we were unable to do that before. But if you have Rocket League, definitely go. If you don't have Rocket League, there is a weird thing with getting the online code on Amazon right now. It's not available, but you could purchase it. I think it's like $20 for the PS4 version. I'm sure you could find it cheaper for PC somewhere else. So Rocket League, I would go check it out because it's really made some big changes in the past month. So,
all right. Let's show. We got a couple more videos that I want to get in here before we wrap up the show this evening. And this is a game that we actually learned about at PAX West just a couple of weeks ago. I guess it was. It wasn't that long ago. It's probably about 2 months ago. I guess was PAX West, and that was last year, The Nightmare. And when we talked about it after the fact, there really wasn't any information. They were at PAX East they were at PAX East this year, and they had their booth, and they released some screenshots and whatnot, but there really wasn't a whole lot of information when I was trying to make the video and whatnot, trying to find some information about the game. Well, they finally have an official trailer, and this is kind of a F-13 kind of game. I'm not saying it's Friday the 13th. I'm not saying it's Dead by Daylight. I'm just comparing it to... I got attacked online.
It's in that genre.
I got attacked online for comparing this to Dead by Daylight and Friday the 13th. I'm not comparing. I'm saying it's in the genre. I mean, Christ Almighty.
Yep.
It's not. It literally looks like a reskin of Friday the 13th. It looks like it's got the look of it. Is what I'm saying. So here is the trailer for Last Year the Nightmare. All right, that's Last Year the Nightmare. Something cool with this game is it's for the first 90 days or 60 or 90 days of it, it will only be available on Discord, which is super cool. We've talked a lot in the past about Discord already pretty much has killed any other VoIP service that revolved around gaming, TeamSpeak, Mumble, Vent. Almost not. Nobody's using them. Skype. Everybody's using Discord, and they're now getting into the game industry. And this is according to, I don't remember his title. Who we talked to at PAX. I want to say it was the the executive director. I don't remember what his name was. Yeah. But he said that the Discord saw them at PAX East and thought, "Hey, this looks like a really cool game. This is something we want to get behind." And for the first 90 days or whatever, they will only be available on Discord, which is super freaking cool.
Now, one thing, you had kind of compared it a little bit to F-13, right?
Yeah.
But I can see they have those custom kills and all those things. That I think that's something that people enjoyed about F-13.
Yeah.
Was having unique kills. I think this game, much more than, Dead by Daylight, the issue is all the kills are the same generally. You go up and you knock somebody out, you put them up on a hook. You don't have that, I guess, possibility of doing those very unique skills for the most part. Yeah. And I think with this, you can get those as a progression system, even having some of those unique kills where he dropped through the skylight and put an axe in the guy's head, drag that girl through the grate. I think you'll be able to get some of those now that you'll be able to market in the game like F-13 was trying to do. And I think they were even limited. They had to keep it so much in line with what Friday the 13th would have done, with all those previous kills. Here, I think this is what F-13 probably wish they could have done freedom-wise as far as their ideas. Because here, they can do whatever they want. If it's cool, they can do it. And so far in the preview there, it looks like they're trying to get that feel of having unique characters. Because we played it. They have unique characters. They do different things, and then unique kills. It'll be fun to see where it goes. If it's fun, it's fun, and people will play it, and then they'll be able to go through and market, and hopefully they don't do a season pass or something so you get unique kills and unique looks and whatever else. I mean, if they can create a fun game, money will come nowadays, I think, in the industry if they do it right.
Yeah, the game was fun. We played it at West. There's a video on our YouTube channel from our interview with them at PAX West. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, it's called Last Year the Nightmare at PAX West 2018, and it's got just a little over 1,000 views. And yeah, we talked to Justin who worked there, and I'm not going to be biased. It was a pretty good interview. So
the best
it was probably the best interview from PAX. But yeah, they seem super passionate about the project. They had a kickin' booth, and they're coming into a genre with a game that's exiting right now. Dead by Daylight's there, but I mean, I don't think it has the name recognition. So it'll be interesting to see what it comes out.
The Discord has such a large percentage of the gaming audience.
Yeah.
If it comes out and people see that their friends are playing it, and they'll probably come up with a creative way that if it's exclusive to Discord, that maybe they'll put a little thing saying they're playing a game that's exclusive to Discord. That's an excellent marketing strategy. How do you get your game noticed in Steam? I mean, you see that your friends playing it, but here I think they have much more of a.
How do we start this podcast?
A way to brand it. Yeah, we
Brian saw me playing H1Z1 on the computer.
Yep. And then I got it, and then we built a community pretty much around in Discord.
Yeah, but really, I mean, you literally saw me playing it and messaged me on Skype and said, "Hey, how's the game?" I said, "It sucks. The servers are down." And you said, "Oh."
But then you said I should get it.
You said you're like, "Oh, my kind of game. I love a good good train wreck."
Perfect.
But yeah, absolutely. I mean, you see your friends playing it, so that'll be good. Thank you, Icy Spark, for the subscription. We do appreciate it. Thanks for joining the show this evening.
Yes.
So yeah, this is another exciting game. It was cool. We just talked to them 4 weeks ago, and their trailer's out, and that'll be good. I'm looking forward to that.
Another one I wanted to mention here is, and I think you had sent a tweet to Smedley asking this question.
I did. Real quick, I got to cut you off beforehand because I need to prove to everybody I get crap all the time. Icy Spark just said in chat, a longtime listener of your podcast just thought I'd throw you in my prime. I don't believe I've ever seen this name in chat before.
Yep.
So thank you, Icy. We appreciate you. We've got a very large unvocal audience, people that listen to the program that are not active. They're not in the Discord. They're not doing this. They just they just no, that's not somebody's. I don't think that's somebody's alt account.
Ross is subscribed to the third account.
So thank you, Icy. We appreciate it. Because we've got a pretty large non-vocal, into the whole community.
Audio
audience.
Only generally.
Yes. So thank
audience.
you. Thank you.
And I always encourage you. That's an excellent way. I mean, that's why one reason I say come jump into our Discord, because most of our audience is not the ones sitting here in chat talking to us.
Yep.
It's out there listening on their way, as you said here, on the way to work
every week.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
And sometimes we'll get people that get frustrated because we'll do something late, and then they'll email us and say, you're the one that I listen to Monday morning when I drive to work, and you missed it. So
yeah. So thank you, Icy. We appreciate it, and we appreciate all the other listeners that I know for a fact are downloading the podcast. I mean, Brian can see the web statistics on the files, and our buddy Brock Vaughn coming in with the cheers. Thanks for the cheers, Brock, and again, thank you, Icy. Thank you for all that.
He says he's unvocal. He's one of those guys that listens but talks once in a while. I've seen his name a number of times. So
there you go. Well, yeah, Brock Vaughn, but Brock Vaughn's in Discord, I think. So, but yeah, so Smedley's weird. He'll tweet out just a URL. He's very weird. So he just tweeted out this PC Gamer article. I was scrolling through Twitter on my phone and I saw him, and it's just a PC Gamer article. And I clicked on it, and this is their MMO that they're working on, New World. And they're looking for testers. You can go to Amazon and sign up. I just wanted to bring it up because I really like Smedley. I don't know him personally, but I think he's a good guy, and you can go check out his game. It's called New World. I'm trying to get the.
And they did show some kind of environmental. These seem really.
I think we showed these, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, these seem very much like they're kind of touched up
a little
bit.
edited, you think?
If it looks like that, great. But
I don't think it does.
Honestly, it's just got some elements that if they could pull that off, that would show that they're doing truly amazing things with their game engine.
Yeah, looks a little stylized.
I think it's style. Yeah, I think it is a little stylized because it's very difficult to get that look without doing some sort of effect.
Yeah. So I mean, again, we don't really know a whole lot about the game, but I think Amazon Game Studio is going to be I think they are going to be a name that you are going to hear a lot of over the next probably 12 to 18 months. Smedley is working on a game. I don't even know if we talked about this on the show. A game with cars and tanks and planes and helicopters. I tweeted him.
But he hasn't talked.
I tweeted him something, and he responded back with, "Oh, more than cars. It'll be planes, tanks, boats." I'm like, "Well, I don't even know what the hell you're doing."
Yeah, but he hasn't told anybody what the name of it is, or even what it. They haven't announced it yet.
So Amazon is. I think Amazon is going to be working. I think Amazon's name, their game studio, is going to have some serious respect in the community over the next 12 to 18 months. I think they've got more money than Jesus Christ himself, and they pretty much can do whatever they want.
They need something to throw money at.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's what Amazon does.
Here, he tagged those images with hashtag screenshot Saturday. So that for me,
I don't know.
I just wonder how much of that is real versus style. Usually you wouldn't hashtag it with screenshot Saturday if it's not pretty close to what the actual game is going to look like. And you got to think that game engine, it tends to kind of have that soft look. I mean, that could be what it looks like from far away. But if it is, this is the engine that Amazon is working on in general. So I bet you they're putting tons of work into the engine itself.
Yeah.
Not just for this game, because every single game that uses Lumberyard will have these benefits. So I think they're doing just like Unreal, putting some incredible things into it.
So we've talked about this a couple times, but what is Lumberyard is not its own engine. It's a licensed version. Do you remember what version number of Unreal?
No, it's not Unreal. It is CryEngine.
I'm sorry. Do you remember what version of CryEngine?
The thing is, they took the previous version of CryEngine. They bought it from CryEngine.
Is it version 4 or 5?
It's whatever the last major one, not the current major one, but the previous. They took it and now they've been reworking it. The thing is CryEngine kind of pulled a dirty trick. Well, or maybe Amazon knew that this was going to happen, but they sold the rights to. They licensed out the rights to that version of CryEngine to Amazon, and then the next week, they announced the next major version of CryEngine, which this is not using.
Yeah.
So now they have the new version of CryEngine, which is its own thing. Which I guess it's good though. These guys are kind of redoing. Lumberyard is based on CryEngine, but I think it's becoming. You could consider it its own game engine now. I think they're totally reworking it and putting in features that CryEngine does not have.
That's cool.
So that's the thing is they can put in the number of people, as Eric is pointing out. They can put in the number of people and the amount of money it takes to fix the game engine, because CryEngine definitely had faults. I mean, we've seen it with Miscreated. I mean, all the things that we complain about with Miscreated,
and most of it is networking and multiplayer based. Yeah.
Yes. And what is the emphasis of Amazon? It's networking and multiplayer, because they want people to go and use the whole point of Lumberyard is that people have to license and use AWS servers and things like that for multiplayer and online play. So the huge part of the focus for Lumberyard is the online, where that has been the major, and that was what made me nervous. That was the major failing point of CryEngine up to that point. But we also have Mavericks coming out, which is really weird. That relies a huge amount on networking on this whole new spatial OS, and it's on CryEngine, which really makes me wonder, like, what in the world is going on? Why isn't CryEngine putting, all these other companies are coming in and fixing the multiplayer of CryEngine, but nobody's bothered to give it back to CryEngine to put it in their actual engine? That's really strange to me, that the way that that's kind of unfolded.
It is definitely odd. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I just don't understand. Like, somebody, why not just fix CryEngine itself? Like,
why don't they just fix it? I mean, it seems like at this point they
That's what I'm
should
saying.
be able to hire somebody to just do it.
why isn't CryEngine fixing the problem?
Or pay somebody.
They're making these other studios like do it multiple times. Like, because you got Mavericks doing it. Well, I mean, Amazon, they would have done it. It's fine, you know, if they're doing it on their own. But any other game that's going to come out that's pushing multiplayer like that, they've had to have kind of reinvented the networking of CryEngine.
Yeah.
And that's one of the major things that held back Miscreated. I mean, Miscreated struggled for a long time because they put most of their resources, and they still are struggling with it. Yeah,
I would say the reason that Miscreated never really took off is because of those early issues that they dealt with. I mean,
because they use CryEngine.
That's just my opinion, but
odd to me.
I don't know.
I think they kind of hinted at that too, that their struggles have been with CryEngine itself. If they had the choice, they would have not picked CryEngine to begin with.
Well, unfortunately, that ship has sailed.
Yeah. So, all right.
Lots of good talk.
If you want to sign up, newworld.com.
Yeah, and then it brings you to an Amazon.
That was my point of what I was going to
mention. Brings you to an Amazon page, and then you put your email.
You just link it to your Amazon page. It's kind of like a pre-order.
Yep.
It'll then put you on the list to possibly get beta access, alpha access, whatever, and then you can try it out.
If and when Smedley releases or talks about a game that is more our genre than this, we'll do our damnedest to get him on the show. If I have to personally fly out to San Diego or wherever they're located to interview him, I will, because I
have a lunch meeting.
Really want to talk to him. I really do. I want to talk about everything. Everything.
Yep. Well, if they're going to release, okay, so PAX next year? Amazon wasn't there really.
They probably
right?
won't be. They won't do they'll do their own event. 100%.
But I think that they
don't care.
Yeah,
they'll do their own event. It's Amazon.
But the thing is, if they don't have enough titles yet to justify, they may show up and just.
They don't have to justify it. They can do whatever the hell they want. They'll do some online stream. They own Twitch, for Christ's sakes, Brian. They'll do a Twitch stream. They'll put it on the front page of Twitch. Hey, we're releasing a new game. Here's the video. Enjoy. It's now the Twitch logo for the next 60 days. See you later. Yeah. I mean, they'll do like a Nintendo Direct. I mean, they'll just stream it. It'll be great.
Yep. And one thing PH was asking about the marketplace. They do like for the speed trees. Speed tree is where most, like, if you see a movie, even.
What are you talking about?
So being able to buy certain items to place in your games inside of a lumberyard game,
yes,
or equivalent of CryEngine. I think you could at this point probably still use some CryEngine. You could go to the CryEngine store, but I know, for instance, SpeedTree, which is a program that you can use to actually make trees, they release specifically for lumberyard. They have a lumberyard version of it.
Gotcha.
So I think there's not a ton of titles out yet, but I think once they start to really release, I think you'll start to see a marketplace. And Amazon's they've got all the infrastructure to be able to sell items. So I think that they're probably waiting to get a few titles out. They'll probably release. They're probably working on a huge number of assets, kind of like what Unreal does, that they're going to release as free stuff to get you started in Lumberyard. And I bet you that'll probably be the launch of their marketplace as well.
And they will make all their money in AWS hosting. It's going to be great.
Yep. And so that's the beauty of it, though, is you get all this benefit, things like that. I mean, Unreal, you get a benefit out of it, but I think with them, you'll have to pay for less things up front because they know that if you get successful, you'll end up paying them later. So it works very well for starting out because you only really have to pay if you end up being successful. If you have to pay for servers and you have to do all, that's when you pay. You don't have to pay anything up front to be able to develop a game like that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I think is there anything? Let's run through a couple of these quick topics here. Like we had a quick little ARC update. This was released on the 27th. It fixed a climbing pick exploit. It reduced the timers on official servers to 15 minutes. It was previously 30.
So is that respawn timers for
it doesn't say.
items?
It just says timers.
I assume it says that. Okay, this way. Here we go.
Cross arc.
This is referring to cross arc upload timers that were
Yes.
previously. So this is when your character is pretty much transferred between arcs, right?
Yeah.
So timers now. I was wondering, they added that after, so that now that's what their 30 minutes to 15 minutes is. One thing also I was going to mention that No Man's Sky, they put out another update, and so if you're playing that game, they're mainly doing fixes, adding some additional plants and things like that to it. But I know they're trying to continue to improve that game. It is tons better than the original, which Nick hated so much. It's definitely
Still hate
a game that's, I mean, but it's a game that's worthy of playing now. Like if you,
I guess if it was 2015, it would be.
Yeah, I mean, but the game is now what they should have released in the very beginning.
If I didn't have anything else to play, it'd be
it
fine. But I've got about 25 other games I'd rather play, and I'm not playing any of those either.
Yep. So if it would have come out like this in the very beginning, it would have been a highly successful game at the time.
Yeah.
I think there's too many people that are like you, frustrated with how it all unfolded. Another thing, PUBG, they put out a tweet. They actually have this thing called Battle Buddy, which is an app that you can get on the Google Play Store. And it will show you all the information on the different items that you can pick up. So a lot of these things that maybe you wondered on the AKM, what's its range? 400 meters. If you hit the body, how much damage does it do? 48. If you hit the head, how much damage does it do? 120. Like they lay it all out so that you can, because that's one thing I always wonder when I pick up this weapon, how much damage, which one is better? I got two weapons that kind of look similar in stats. Which one is actually better? And I think this is a really good way to do it. Giving people that information. Also, they'll have a lot of information on your stats, so you can see how many kills you've done, how many wins. It's all in a nice mobile format, and you can see per game how many kills you got, and show all the different games in the past. And you can actually put together. You can pick a weapon, helmet, vest, and then it will show you how much damage you will give, how many shots it'll take to kill somebody, and how much damage you can receive with that specific combo of items. So they really are laying it out for you. So kind of an interesting, and glad they did this.
Yeah. Real quick here, just before we wrap it up, let's talk about a quick SCUM update. I don't know if have you played any more SCUM recently?
Yes. Just not the last couple, because I've been God of War has kind of had my attention.
Okay. Well, SCUM is still out there, still doing its thing. It seems like it lost a lot of its not a lot of it. It's lost some steam. I'm not really seeing its. I'll have a current player thing here in a minute, but it seems like maybe some of the newness of it is already worn off, which isn't.
When there's no end game and there's no progression, right? Somehow Rust has managed to survive that, but most games won't. And unless it takes off and becomes a truly trolly game like Rust, where people just enjoy destroying each other all the time, they have to, I think, add a little bit more, which these guys are planning on doing. So it may be good. Maybe they got the funds. Here's what I would hope: they got the funds that they needed to now complete the game, and they'll do kind of what they did in Conan. Of all right, now we're releasing, and here's a really fun game. Come and play this.
Yeah, they've got some new items in here, which is cool. I'll just scroll through these really quickly. They've got a new improvised handgun, which can be crafted. A new improvised shotgun, again, can be crafted. This is a game that you can... This is the harder core survival game, meaning it's hard to find weapons, it's hard to find items. So these makeshift guns that use... that aren't going to do as much damage are cool. These are cool things to see in there. A new improvised mask.
So that's made with the skin
of other
players.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
That's crazy. I mean, I like that kind of edgy feel. I mean, because that's definitely edgy. You don't generally see that in a game like this.
Yeah.
So pretty unique.
The night vision goggles were added. They've added 30 caves on the island that you can go and they say you can build with. They've got some new taunts in here. Your typical kind of video game emote defaults, the middle finger, wave, surrender. a couple of those things, and then just a bunch of changes and fixes and whatnot.
And they did some optimizations, but I think those are mainly the new version of Unreal, them taking advantage of that.
Yeah. There's a comment here in chat. It says, I had 80 hours first week of SCUM. What got me to stop playing is the field of view is too low. It legit makes me sick. They need to add a field of view slider. It's interesting.
Yep.
I've never understood that. I thought those things were standard. Field of view.
You have to add it. You have to add it into the settings bar though. So,
but I thought this stuff was standard, like windowed
it is
borderless.
standard in the engine. But it's in the engine. They just have to make a menu item that says it.
No, my point is,
you could probably go into an editor and do it.
That's my point. Is like windowed borderless, field of view. All of this stuff I thought was just a standard now. Like if you're going to release a freaking video game, Daybreak, put in a goddamn windowed borderless mode. It's 2018.
That's the issue. Is it's the developers either overlooking or being lazy and not bothering. Like if you truly cared. Some games do this where they put every setting that's available for you to adjust.
But a game like this needs to have this. This isn't like a single player campaign game. This is a hardcore survival game where the settings are very, very detailed. Very, very detailed. And the settings menu is very extravagant. There's a lot of settings. It needs to have a field of view slider. I mean, this isn't God of War. This isn't a single player game that you're playing
where you're crafting a cinematic experience.
No.
This is something you're running around, generally first person. You know, a lot of times I think that's something that it would be so easy for them to do. If they sat down and for 1 hour, one of the developers, he could have this done and committed in max 1 hour, you know, with coming up with the additional menu item.
Why don't you go, you should go donate an hour of your time, fly out to where they are and do this.
I'm sure they would love me getting into their source code and messing with one of their menus.
Yeah, I'm sure that would be a real mess. You'd probably be arrested.
Yeah, like here, let me just adjust this. But that's the thing is, it just comes down to them adding the setting for it. They've already got all these other settings.
And that's the thing. That's what's tough about this stuff. These are, I don't want to say QOL, but these, I guess they have got so many quote unquote issues that they're dealing with the game. They just don't see the field of view as a big deal.
But look, they lost a player.
That's my point. Is like now there's people. Come on, it's got to be more than one person. I mean, there are people now that that are literally sick. It literally makes them sick. I can't watch 3D movies. They literally make me sick.
Yeah,
I can't do VR. It literally makes me sick. Like you've got now you're losing player, and it's like. It's a tough situation. It's like, what do you do? You can't pull a PUBG. You don't have that much money, so you can't.
No.
You can't.
But if you look at this patch, like the fact that they added 30 caves, they added these new items, they did a number of fixes. Like they are actively working on things, but that should be a high priority. Of okay, we have people reporting that they're getting nauseous because our field of view is so bad. Let's put that as a list, one of our quality of life ones for the next update.
Well, and Coldfish
rather than
adding
a suicide animation.
Well, Coldfish Cat brings up a good point. He says musicals make him sick. So everybody's got their
different
thing that makes them sick.
Thing.
But yeah, that's a real tough. That's a real double-sided coin. It's okay. Let's put aside new features which are attracting player bases, which means cha-ching money for little things like field of view settings and just other little miscellaneous options. That's a real double-edged sword.
And as Nisco points out, like he put the path in there. As I said, it's just a text file that menu option is editing. You could go in and manually change it.
Oh, they disabled that apparently. Used to be able to do that.
Okay, never mind. So they must be doing a check when they launch.
Sons of bitches. I hate that.
Yep. But the thing is, they don't want you to go. Remember how we used to manipulate?
They disabled it because people were turning off trees and terrain.
That's the exact same thing. Remember that happened in H1Z1? Or it was PUBG that did that. Remember people were changing to the low, setting so low that it wasn't displaying grass.
That's really funny that people are disabling trees and terrain. So
because it's an Unreal setting. So if you leave it totally open, that's why they have to add these things one at a time.
That's why it needs to be in the game.
If you leave it totally open, they can go in and say, "Oh, I don't want to show foliage this time."
But that's why it should have been in the game by the start. I have no sympathy for that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and they should have done it the first round. Like, what are the most important settings? Okay, let's add those in now.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, I think we've done enough. Yeah,
there's some other things that we could have talked about. We'll have links in our show notes.
Yep.
We'll probably bring up some of these next week as well. So
we always say that if we had to bring up everything that we're supposed to talk to, we might as well just not look at any news.
Last
for the
week
next
I brought
6
something
months.
for. So sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. We'll see if there's new news that's kind of trumped that news.
Yeah.
It's come out related to the same game that's newer, then I don't bring up the old thing. So.
And by the way, if there's news, there's games. Hovercats recommended us a game right before the show start here, and I don't remember what it. I think I've got it bookmarked. Crap. I may have to go back in the chat and look at it. But a game, he said, "Have you guys heard about this?" Brian's the resident
Breath Edge.
Brian's the resident expert on keeping track of all these games. He had not. So if there's a game out, if there's a company, if there's a person working on something that you assume we know about, we probably don't. Too many games. Yeah. It's not our full-time job. It's, we've got stuff going on. So if you see something, know of something, please let us know in Discord, do whatever. Please, please, please tell us, what's going on with that so we can get in touch with the developer. Or just Brian's got a tracker that he, looks through and sees what's going on every week.
What's been updated. Yep.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. So are you going to be doing any player numbers?
Yeah. I mean, of course. I was just going through Discord.
I didn't want to jump. Sometimes I was jumping into the game of the week, so tip of the week. So I didn't want to jump into there.
No, I mean, I'm actually a little distracted with Discord. Lance has just posted a picture montage of what he has eaten today and his exercises for our Get in Shape in October challenge, our Sober October. I mean, I'm really gonna have to step it up now. So
he's like totally accountable.
Oh man, we are. So this is good. If for people,
he's even got the 3 eggs. He's doing the Rocky thing. He's got 3 eggs in the morning.
So I mean,
a super healthy looking salad for lunch.
If you are interested in joining our Sober October challenge, again, I said at the beginning of the show, we're keeping each other accountable. No drinking alcohol, no smoking pot, no cocaine, no other drugs. Throughout the month,
those not listed. No acid.
Yeah, no acid. We're doing this based on the Joe Rogan podcast, and we're working out, eating healthy, and that's what we're doing for the month of October. So if you want to join us, PM me in Discord, or whatever, at me and tell me you want to be added. We've got a private room, and everybody's just posting their gains. I've been told I need to take pictures of gains and whatnot. So that's what we're doing. All right. God, it's been a while since I've done current players, since I've been so absent. Current players. We talk about games and who's playing them. Let's start off. King of the Kill. I refuse to call it its other name. Currently playing 1,895, the 24-hour peak. 4,179 with a 7-day peak. 6,148. Moving on over to Ark Survival Evolved. Currently playing 25,495, the 24-hour peak. 37,151 with a 7-day peak of 48,542. And PUBG, currently playing 90,303. Your 24-hour peak just shy of 1 million, 949,733 with a 7-day peak of 40,146. I think that I'm not pronouncing that right. And then I've got a couple of other quick games here that we're talking about that I don't have cards for yet, and that is Ring of Elysium. Elysium. Currently playing. I'm throwing myself off. Currently playing 22,346. The 24-hour peak 32,641, and moving down to your 7-day peak 45,415. Moving on over to SCUM, which I don't have a card for either. Currently playing 5,260, your 24-hour peak 9,547, and the 7-day peak 13,352. And that's current players. That's a couple of the games. I guess I'm hesitant to make cards for all these games because it is a little more complicated.
Just waiting for them to die out.
Well, it's complicated. It's like these numbers coincide with a Google spreadsheet, and every time I add a new one, I've got to go back and readjust all the old numbers. Like the columns and rows shift. It's not a perfect solution. So I think for ROE, I'm going to add one because I think that's here for the for the long haul.
I think that it's consistent enough, and the player base has been pretty consistent. I mean, they've already had a consistent player base over in Asia, and they just brought it to the United States. So like people are playing it. So, all right. Well, let's go ahead and roll into tip of the week, where either it can be a general tip, maybe for a specific game. This week, because we've talked about it some, I'm going to do a tip for SCUM. So this is tip of the week. All right. So in SCUM, you hear us talking about all the different options and things that you can do and different ways things are displayed. I want to talk a little bit about, they have a radial menu that you can pull up inside of SCUM. You hold down the tab key. And one thing that you've probably heard about is this will bring up a list of bathroom options, medical options. So for the bathroom options, I know some people thought this was great. Some people were mad because it was, I don't know, not serious enough, but it will allow you to poop, pee, and puke. So and there are reasons for this.
Really?
It's not just randomly. Yes. Because if you drink a lot of water, they actually have a bladder level. And so if you drink a bunch of water over time, so this is something very unique with SCUM. So when you drink water, it doesn't immediately affect you. All it does is it fills your stomach with water. Then over time, your body starts to absorb it. You start to digest it. And then it starts to affect your body. Well, if you drink a ton of water, it will then eventually start to fill your bladder over time. If you don't go to the bathroom, if you don't tell yourself to go to the bathroom, you eventually will pee your pants. Same thing is you poop your pants if you don't actually do it manually. If you've eaten something, perhaps you've taken too many medications. You've just gone and taken every medication you picked up, you will throw up. The downside of that is that you then don't have contents in your stomach, and so you're not going to get the benefits of that food. So it's very realistic in that method, and they've done a really good job of balancing that out to where there's actually reasons to have these menu options. Also, they have first aid kit in their emotes, so you can do different actions from that radial menu. Also, they have running, which is different than some of the other games that you've seen so far. You don't use shift to run. If you actually will use your scroll mouse, and you can turn that, and that will adjust. Whether you can start out at walking, and then you can go to a light jog. You can do different speeds of running, which will affect your character depending on how healthy your character is. So if your character is healthy, you can run at high speeds for longer. If you are not, you will get very worn out. You will start to lose some of your, you'll just get to a point where you barely can move and you have to rest for a while. And you actually will affect how hungry you are. You can become healthy over time. So you're not stuck being overweight, or just like with our health challenge. You work out in the game, you run in the game, you eat well in the game, you will become in better shape. And so that'll allow you to run at that higher speed longer. So you want to monitor that intake. You want to monitor how your character is doing, run. And if you're overweight, run when you can, eat that, and you will get that down. So this is a very unique way of doing the game. I think they did a really good job of making it, mirror real life, where most games I think have failed in that aspect. This one, they've taken some of those real life elements and actually made them have a consequence or a benefit in the game that mimics exactly the consequence and the benefit in real life. So that's probably one of my favorite parts of this game, is how they implemented this. And it was probably very difficult to do. So I give them kudos for doing that well. So that is my tip of the week.
Boy, I tell you, bring it all full circle, Brian. That's why you get paid the big bucks. Working out in SCUM, working out in real life, it's all the same. Thank you very much.
So if you want to join us in our fitness challenge,
yes, please join us.
We'll have the healthiest community in the video game world. How about that?
Bring it on. Let's do it.
So, all right, you ready for this game giveaway?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay, so go ahead and roll for this. Jay Delore, congratulations. Long time original H1Z1 OG.
Yes.
So,
Thanks, JD.
Congratulations. And I think he just entered right before we did it. He's
Scumbag.
like, which game is it? Yeah.
Scumbag.
Oh, well.
Scumbag.
Yeah. He's like, PH says, rip people that actually watch. He was here. He just didn't enter the raffle.
It's pretty good.
So
Pretty good.
very good. Hey, you got to enter to win.
Hey, if you're not first, you're last.
Yep.
That's
Not first. Yeah.
Ricky Bob. Go from Ricky Bob. Yeah, first you're last.
All right. So if you want to find me at Voice Computer on Twitter, I think we're done.
I think so.
Or if you want to follow my blog, biteoftech.com. Of course, our website. Make sure you join our Steam group. That's a great way to get notifications and join us in the live show. Also, our YouTube channel, our Twitch channel, if you want to watch us live and make comments during the live show. And then we've got all our podcast forums and then our Discord. That's if you want to participate in our health challenge for the month, or maybe you just want to chat about games, you want to give suggestions of news that we should cover, jump into our Discord. It's totally free, great mobile app, easy to use, and it's our primary method of communication. So come and join us.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Brian. Friday night, we will be playing Overwatch around 8 o'clock Eastern. I've got a work event I need to attend in the early afternoon Friday, so I'll be there. I may be a little late, but I'll post everybody. I will be there Friday night. I may be a little.
And I just said, I have an obligation of someone needed me to cover something for them, so I won't be for the next two, but I should be back to normal.
Well, we'll be there. And again, if you don't have Overwatch and you want it, you can get it on Humble Bundle. Head on over to our website. It's infectionpodcast.com/support. Click the Humble Bundle icon, then sign up for the Humble Bundle monthly. It gives us a nice little kickback, which funds things like PAX West, which we just came back from, which we had a ball, and we're able to get a lot of interviews and a lot of content that you frankly just didn't see elsewhere. Great example, Last Year the Nightmare. You search Last Year the Nightmare PAX West, we're numero uno on the results because there just wasn't a lot of content made there. So thanks everybody who made that possible, and got to get ready, Brian. We got to figure out what events we're doing this year. We may be doing 2. We gotta figure it all out. So thanks again, and we'll talk to you next week.
Very good. See you.
All right, folks. Well, of course, you can visit our website, infectionpodcast.com. And for audio listeners that missed any of the trailers, you can watch the video version of the show or check out our show notes, in which we've got links to all of the videos we played on our website. Again, infectionpodcast.com. My name is Nick Craig. You can follow me on Twitter at Nicholas M. Craig. Missed any portion of the show, you can visit our website, infectionpodcast.com. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. See you next time.